Okay, so let's get into this Met Gala news. So shout out to the Met Gala, which is breaking its record and has pretty much outdone itself. So 500 people, in case y'all weren't aware, RSVP to Monday morning's media preview for Superfine, Taylor in Black Style. Because I was like wondering when I was looking at all that stuff, I'm like, I don't know what the theme is, even though we know we had some black coaches. Shout out to Lewis Hamilton, ASAP Rocky, trying to think of everybody off the top of my head, Pharrell Williams, and Coleman Domingo. And of course, Edna Mode, aka y'all know who I'm calling Edna Mode, Anna Wintour. So yeah, so at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the majority appeared to show up to tour the show before it bows to the public on Saturday. Damn, now I kind of want to go to MoMA just so I can look at that. Just so I can look at the fashions. Now, beforehand, attendees got a primer about dandyism, the exhibition's undercurrent. They also were reminded by the Met's director and chief executive officer, Max Holian, that the museum is having a little party tonight, aka the Met Gala. And this year's annual fundraiser for the Costume Institute is a record breaker at $31 million, saying that was quite a jump compared to last year's total of $26 million. Holian said that after the program, as for how that happened in such economically and geopolitically shaky times, he said the level of support, enthusiasm, and importance of what we do is significant, especially this show, which is not only a celebration of Black designers, but it's also a statement. It's an important exhibition about history that all comes to the fore. That's what a lot of our supporters felt, that it is meaningful and important. And I always say, always been on Black. I hope there's not a situation where it's like, okay, well, because the Met Gala was doing okay in the past and fashion is kind of feeling a little stale at the moment, that, yeah, let's go pander to black people so that way we can get that jolt that we need. Because at the end of the day, and I know it's no shade, but I mean, especially with Sinners and everything coming out, Black people are always at the forefront of everything, whether it's music, whether it's culture, whether it's fashion, whether it's art. It always stems from Black people, and not only just Black people, but Black queer people. And that's one of the things that I was a little upset about with Sinners, is that there was no Black queer culture even added up in there, because that was prominent in the South as well, especially in the 30s. Especially when you talk about juke joints, there was a lot of queerness that was going on up in the juke joints as well. I mean, we saw that in The Color Purple. So if we saw that in The Color Purple, then you know that it was going to be prominent in those days, especially when you talk about sin and hedonism and all that other stuff, where Black people just sweating out their perm. Well, they didn't have perms in them days, but you know what I'm saying. So kind of bringing all that up in there and knowing that cultural history, of course they had that up in there. And then when you saw a lot of the women in like the suits and the top hats, that was a play on the Harlem Renaissance. Hence why when you saw what Madonna was wearing with her suit, that was playing a lot up into the Harlem Renaissance. And if you know about the Harlem Renaissance, it was a lot of Black queer people that were at the center of that as well. Um, so now they say, and the Met Gala is just an outstanding place to be connected. So we see continuously growing support of that. Adding, and this is what Holian said, adding that the gala's fundraising allows the Met to not only operate the Costume Institute, but also to further expand on the stories that it wants to tell and the collections that it needs and wants to preserve. So yeah, while you got a certain idiot in the White House that's trying to dismantle everything and remove all kinds of art and stuff, the one thing, if you go, oh, I'm going to do an executive order to go against the Met Gala, first of all, you can't do that, because what you cutting off and stuff, this is all from donations. So when you have celebrities paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for a damn table, what control do you have over that, sir? You don't. So if you're even thinking about trying to go up in there with your mess, that's not going to happen. So you can screw up whatever you plan on doing with the Kennedy Center, but you don't have no powers over at MoMA. So now they said that Condé Nast, chief content officer and Vogue's editor-in-chief, Miss Wintour, has been leading that charge since she started co-chairing the Met Gala in 1995, with the exception of the 1996 and 1998 events. In 2014, the Costume Institute was renamed for Wintour. Condé Nast provides support for the Met Gala, but Louis Vuitton is the year's lead sponsor. So Tom Brown, Tory Burch, Jacques Agboblé, Stephen Jones and Jeffrey Banks are among the designers in the crowd, as well as Tony winning costume designer Didi Ayate, The CFDA's Stephen Kolb, Condé Nast Chief Executive Officer Roger Lynch, and models Abdu Ndoye, and fashion historian Lana Turner. Lana Turner? I was like, ain't she dead? But she's a historian, not the actress. So now, wearing the fuchsia Oswald Boateng suit, the actor Coleman Domingo, one of the co-chairs of the Met Gala, spoke movingly about how his stepfather, his biological father, and his brother influenced his sense of style. He also singled out Andre Leon Talley, Dapper Dan, Boateng, Sidney Poitier, Prince, Harry Belafonte, James Brown, and Met Gala co-chairs Pharrell Williams and A$AP Rocky. Well, I could definitely see, like, even when he wore his little cape, I will say that Coleman Domingo definitely gave, like, you were paying homage to Andre Leon Talley. But there's this thing I saw on TikTok that I want to show y'all. Hold on. With I was like, why are we not pausing? With Dwight Looper. First of all, I'm obsessed with him, and I posted his fashion review earlier on my social medias. But I want y'all to sit and watch him critique all the girls that was on the runway, the girls and the girls that was on the runway, and I was having a cackle because he went in on everybody, and it was like, you know what? If they ever revive Fashion Police, then to get him on there. First of all, him, Laura Roach, can you imagine them on a panel together? That would be everything. But I want y'all to see this clip, and then we'll get back and we'll talk more about the achievements of the Met Gala. Please hold.
The Lauryn Hill. Lauryn said, not only am I going to give you dandy, I'm going to give you dandelion. Y'all see this yellow, this turquoise, this brown? Love it. For real, you can stay, you and your pearl jacket. But Miss Girl, remove her immediately. I told y'all don't show up to these people's event half naked. You got on these Louis Vuitton stockings and this bag. Remove her. Take her with you. I like this silhouette, but Louis, label. Girl, you are a walking campaign. I hope Pharrell paying you.
Hold on.
Now, this look and this look are basically the same look, but one I like, one I don't. Hey, Miss Ross, that's the boss. What in the Rick James is going on? I told y'all pinstripes, but this do-rags and what can I say?
Mm-hmm.
What can I say? It's Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best dressed couples, always on theme. She still got my man hand. Girl, let my man hand go. Hey, Gabby. But this couple is the top contender because Usher and Miss Girl on theme. Love it. Holly then showed up to these people's event with her cat out and this I'm going to a funeral hat with a veil on it because she knows she killed y'all. That's how you be naked without being naked. Take notes. That's her man. That fringe on. Okay. Girl, you giving me Smurfette. Rihanna. Can do no wrong. Love it. Now, I wish I could have saw it with some black stockings on. And girl, if I ain't mistaken, ain't this Miss Tilly hat when she was in the juke joint? She done been hit upside her head with too many tennis balls. Because what is this? You look like you're going to play tennis. Polo shirt, asymmetrical tennis skirt, girl, gone. Take him with you. Sierra, come get your baby daddy. Lock him up. Don't let him in. Love it. Cake. I told you I was sick of the cakes, but it's cute. Monochromatic from head to toe. Love it. What can I say? That's Janelle Monáe. That's Tiana. Quay, he ate. One of the best dressed men. Pinstripes, pocket watches, black and white spectators. We call them black eyed peas. Love it. Zendaya.
He popped the fan for her.
What else can I say? Always on theme. Like, girl, this girl holds a special place in my heart. I knew her when she was on drugs, we call her Rue. Look, she done grew up to be a beautiful lady. She giving you Diane Carroll. She giving you Dominique Devereaux. She giving you Diana Ross and Mahogany. And if I ain't mistaken, this is Louis Vuitton. But look how she wear it compared to everybody else. Zendaya, yes, yes, and yes. The Lauren Hill. Lauren said, not only am I going to give you
Okay, I don't know why this damn
the
thing ain't pausing.
Lauren.
It's like, thank you. It's like I don't want to pause today, apparently. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out to you because I was like, you know what, Dwight Looper was everything with that review. I am here for everything he had to say. And one of the things I will say about this, first of all, Doshi, you was all that attitude that you was giving and berating your team because apparently the press and everything got to see this little outfit you had on, this little, shucking the job and tap dancing outfit. First of all, all that this ugly outfit you got on doesn't even warrant that overall attitude. Give me another umbrella. Give me another one. I was like, girl, if you don't sit your ass down somewhere, like I like the music, you just became famous yesterday, but pipe down, bring it down to about a 5.5. So I was like, your outfit was not cute enough for you to even be trying to want all that energy the way that you was giving it. I don't know if y'all seen the video, but yeah, she was going off on her team because they saw what she had on before she could debut it at the Met Gala. But anyway, so as the Costume Institute's chief curator, Andrew Bolton, spoke of how Talley was a catalyst for Superfine due to how one of the obituaries after his death in 2022 referenced him as a true dandy, like those in favorite novels by Balzac and Baudelaire. Bolton also noted how the spring exhibition is the Costume Institute's first that addresses race and its first menswear focused show in 20 plus years. As for what Talley might have thought of his role in Superfine, one of his former Vogue colleagues, Hamish Bowles, said afterward, I think Andre would be bowled over by it. It's vindication in a way of everything that he stood for. A John Galliano designed navy wool twill coat, monogrammed Louis Vuitton luggage, and a caftan that belonged to Talley are on view. Fittingly, in 1974, 2 years after Talley earned a master's degree from Brown University, he worked at the Met Costume Institute for Diana Vreeland, dressing mannequins for the romantic and glamorous Hollywood design exhibition. Superfine's guest curator Monica L. Miller, whose 2009 book, Slaves to Fashion, Black Dandyism, and the Styling of Black Diasporic Identity, was a starting point for the exhibition, opened her remarks by reading from Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man and emphasizing a question that the novel was, well, what design and whose? Well, I wonder if that's where Miss Joan Rivers got that whole "who you wearing" situation from. And Grandma Miles want to know, well, we already seen Lauren look. First of all, I do live for this whole coat swoop situation. And first of all, why is nobody told about the fact that Lauren showed up on time for something? Or was people already talking about that? But anyway, let me put this collection up so that way everybody can see that, and then we'll get back to what we was talking about. So they said, while the show does not set out to answer that question, Miller said that dandyism, by definition, is an act of a refusal and noted that dandies can push boundaries of gender, class, sexuality, race, and blackness. And this is why I said a lot of y'all need to get educated in regards to like fashion and stuff, because y'all get mad if you see a man walking around with a cape or a skirt or whatever the case is. Y'all, oh, that's gay or that's this or that's that. It's like, maybe if y'all educated yourselves on fashion and stop thinking that it's all about gender. That's what I loved about dandyism is the fact that, yes, you can push the boundaries. And I always thought fashion should be about pushing the boundaries of gender. And when you wear certain outfits, like when men wore heels back in the day, or men wore skirts and things of that nature, what would be done design or be considered a skirt, that was more or less about social status. It wasn't about, like, if a man wore a wig and some heels and shit, it was about social status. It wasn't about gender and all the other stuff. So people educating themselves on the history of fashion, they would know that. But y'all get so caught up in gender constructs and worry about stuff looking gay or whatever the case is that it's like, you sound dumb. So yeah, a lot of that plays into it when it comes to fashion. It's like pushing the boundaries of gender, pushing the boundaries of class, sexuality, race, and blackness. Which is why Black people have always been at the forefront of fashion. You may not know it based off of our history consistently being erased, but I'm glad that we have situations like this, and I hope they keep it up yearly where people are actually given the education of how Black not only black, but black queer people have played a prominent role in fashion, design, and culture. Now, after the program wound down, most of the attendees headed for the exhibition, where menswear by Boter, Virgil Abloh, may he rest in peace, Grace Wales Bonner, Bianca Saunders, Theophilio, Marvin Desrock, Laquan Smith, Maximilian Davis, and Ferragamo and other black designers are on display. There, they also found mannequins designed by Tanda Francis and Joyce Fung. Francis said that was inspired by the Sopere culture of Congo, where clothing was used to rebel against colonizers. Saying, quote, as I suspect is true today, without anything, they would make the look happen and literally stop traffic to get their message across. This is what Francis said. Now, Francis said that seeing the work in progress at the galleries caused her to literally take a step back, saying, quote, I've seen one herd for so long, and to see them multiplied and having completely different attitudes and personalities depending what they had on was a stunning thing to see. So that's why I just love reading stuff about this. But anyway, so let's conclude because I'm almost done with this. So now it says, fashion historian Turner said Monica Miller, an academic, has had her work become a piece of international thinking. It could stay in the halls of academia, where the book has sat for a minute, other than for people who think about fashion. Instead of just presenting the notion of black dandies, Miller curating is prompting people to talk about its history in a place that most people wouldn't think about. And now that is finding its way into the consciousness of people who weren't thinking about that. Exactly. Now, Monday's preview was provided at first glimpse of the superfine tailoring black style shop, where designs, I should say, from Johnny Nelson, Denim Tears, Brother Vellies, Le Enchanteur, Off-White, and Pat McGrath Labs can be found. So, shout out to WWD for all this tea. So yeah, that there you have it in regards of all this. So I ask all of you, what did you guys think of this? Congratulations to the Met Gala for raising $31 million, up from last year. So you raised like $5 million more than you accumulated last year. I'm pretty excited for this, and let's see where they go next year. And I hope this isn't all performative and just something to help boost the situation, that we really are trying to continuously incorporate black culture and black queer culture into fashion, and still pushing that forward, and not just using black people yet again for window dressing, but we don't really have seats at the table, and we're not really pushing the boundaries of fashion as we should be, and white people taking all the credit. So that's what I'm wondering on that. So I'm happy that we are where we are, but let's just keep it going, especially because we have Pharrell, who's making a lot of moves and pushing a lot of influence in the world of fashion, with him being the creative director of Louis Vuitton, that sort of thing. So, and Coleman Domingo's fashion always eats. And my girl, I love me some Zendaya. Whenever she come out with something, you already know that she never misses, in my opinion, when it comes to fashion. She can never do no wrong in my eyes. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. So let me know what your thoughts on this story is in the comments down below.